Hello everybody. Today we're going to do lesson 8-2, which is going to be solving quadratic equations. Okay, so this is we're going to be solving quadratic equations for a while. Today we're just going to do some like we did last time, just some different factoring in it. So I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to start with the last problem from last time. And what I mean by that is x squared plus 8x plus 15. So if you remember last time, we had three problems that were already factored, and then the fourth was written as a quadratic, meaning it's in ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 form. Okay, so that being said, we have to factor this then. So our top number is the 15, the bottom number is 8. You already have this in your notes. You don't really have to write this down if you don't want. I just wanted to remind you. 1 times 15, 3 times, ooh, that's a 3. 3 times 5. Well, 5 times 3 is 15, and 5 plus 3 is 8. Those are our numbers. Therefore, our factors, or this quadratic equation written in factored form, is x plus 5, x plus 3. We have two factors. We set them equal to 0. Now we separate. We set each factor equal to its own 0. Okay. Solve each little problem. So we subtract 5 from both sides here. And we get x equals negative 5. On this side, we subtract 3 from both sides. And we get x equals negative 3. And therefore, our answers, there are two, or our solutions is another way of putting it, is x equals squiggly brackets negative 5 comma negative 3 squiggly brackets. You could box these up. I'm happy with this answer written this way, x equals, but I just want to remind you that on the regions, don't worry about the regions, never mind, just box it, move on. Okay, number 2. Okay, so what we're going to do is the same thing, but we're going to practice some of the harder factoring, or some of the different factoring anyway. So number 2 is 2a squared minus 15a plus 18 equals 0. So you look at that. Is that factored yet? No. Therefore, you have to factor it if possible. So what kind of factoring is this? Well, first thing you want to know is, can you take a 2 or an a out of all of the terms, all three terms? And the answer is no. There's no a in 18, there's no a after the 18. And then you can't divide out a 2 because 2 doesn't go into 15 evenly. So that means we have the eyeglasses going on, or the eyeglass theory. First times last of the trinomial, don't circle the 0, is going to give you what you're going to put in the x. Okay, so when we do 2 times 18, we get 36. We put that in the top. The bottom is still the middle term, okay, so it's negative 15. Factors of 36, oh, there's a lot of them. 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 1, 2, 12, 4 times 9, oh, wait, 3 and 12. 3 plus 12 is 15, that's close. Let's see, 12 plus 3 equals 15. We want the opposite of that. That means we change all the signs to the opposite. So positive 12 becomes negative, and positive 3 becomes negative 3. Now check it again. Negative 12 times negative 3 is positive 36. Negative 12 minus 3 is negative 15, or plus negative 3 is negative 15. All right. Now, we don't just double bubble here. we bring down the first and the last terms. So we bring down the 2a squared, and we bring down the 18, or plus 18. What we're going to put in the middle is that negative 15a broken down to be minus 12a, and then a minus 3a. Okay, so that came from your x over there. Now we have 4 terms. We are going to group those 4 terms. There's too many to do one problem, so we're going to make it 2. GCF to see if we can what we can take out. So we have a 2 that can come out because 2 goes into 12, and we have an a that can come out, 1 NA. Okay, the 2's, oh, first of all, let's write it on the outside. Give yourself parentheses. Okay, so 2's cancel out. One of the a's cancels out, so a squared becomes a to the first because we got rid of 1. 2 into 12 is 6, and a divided by a is 1. 6 times 1 is 1. So what do we have here? We have a minus 6. A minus, and the 6 here. A minus 6. All right, now we do the second part, or the second half of this, the second group. All right, so what can we take out? Well, negative 3 goes into negative 3, obviously. Negative 3 goes into 18 evenly, okay? It's going to give you a negative 6. So we're going to divide by negative 3. We can't take an a out of each of them, so just the negative 3. Okay, so this is negative 3 comes out. And what you're left with is, well, those 2 cancel out. You get an a. 18 divided by negative 3 is negative 6. So look what you have now. I don't like the colors. I'm going to fix that. Hold on. Oop, a minus 6. Good. Okay, so we're going to write our greatest common factor as a minus 6 in parentheses, and the other factor is 2a minus 3. Oops. Those are set equal to 0, and then we move this up. Separate our factors and set each factor equal to 0. So a minus 6 equals 0. 2a minus 3 equals 0. If I add 6 to both sides, I get a equals 6. If I add 3 to both sides, I get 2a equals 3, but I want to know what a is, so I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides. So a equals 1.5, or 3 over 2. Okay, so it might say a equals squiggly bracket 1.5 comma 6 squiggly bracket. So is this hard? No. If you know how to factor, this is not hard at all. It's the factoring that people struggle with. So hopefully you've been practicing that factoring for the last couple of weeks. If not, learn it now. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, so number 3. M squared minus 4m equals 0. Okay, well, this one is not a trinomial, it's a binomial. So it's either the difference of perfect squares or, well, we should always check for a GCF first. So that's what we're going to do. Is there a greatest common factor? Is there something that you can pull out of or divide out of m squared and 4m? Well, they both have an m. So you can divide by m everywhere. Everybody, everybody. Okay, so that means the m comes out. What's left over goes inside the parentheses. So that's going to be an m, right? Because the m and the m squared goes down 1. And then 4m, or negative 4m divided by m is just negative 4. Now this equals 0. So what are your factors? They're m and then m minus 4. You set each factor equal to 0. So we're going to set the m equal to 0. We're going to set the m minus 4 equal to 0. Now, we already have this one solved, m equals 0. Boom, that's one of your answers. 0 is a valid answer. The next one, we're going to add 4 to both sides to solve this little problem here, this little equation. And so m equals 4. You have two solutions. M equals squiggly bracket 0, comma 4. Close squiggly bracket. The end. That one was easy factoring if you know how to do GCF factoring. So a lot of this is just practicing your factoring also. Okay, number 4. Last one I'm doing with you. 4h squared minus 16 equals 0. Okay, so it can't be the x method, meaning for the trinomials. The next thing you should be checking is the GCF. In fact, you should always check for a GCF first, meaning can you divide out something? Well, let's see. 4 goes into 4 and 4 goes into negative 16. So I guess we could divide by 4. Okay? If we divide by 4, we're actually just factoring out the 4, and what's left over is h squared minus 4 equals 0. Okay? We have two factors here, but do you recall factoring completely? So what that means is I have to factor until I can't factor anymore. Well, the 4 I can't do anything with. I mean, I could write it as 2 times 2, but it's not going to help. So you just bring down the 4. But look, h squared minus 4. H squared is a perfect square. H times h equals h squared. 2 times 2 is 4. So the square root of 4 is 2. Therefore, we have the difference, because it's subtraction, of perfect squares. Well, if you recall, we take the square root of the first and the last. So the square root of h squared is h. H times h is h squared. The square root of 4 is 2, so 2 times 2 is 4. We want it to be a negative 4, so we make one negative and one positive. And now we actually have 3 factors, but look what happens with this one. We're going to set each factor equal to 0 like we have been doing. I'm just going to go through and do all of them and then go back. Okay, so if we have 3 factors, we set 3 factors equal to 0. But look at this. The first one says 4 equals 0. Is that a true statement? No, that's not true. Therefore, it's no solution. Just for that piece, though, not for the overall question. So the second factor is x minus 2. We're going to add 2 to both sides, and we're going to get h equals 2. The third one is h plus 2. We're going to subtract 2 from both sides, and we get h equals negative 2. So we have 2 solutions. Overall, we have 2 solutions to the whole entire problem. It just so happens that one of the tiny equations had no solution to it. So we have h equals squiggly bracket negative 2 comma 2 squiggly bracket. Hey, that's it for me. So I'm going to give you some problems to try and hit pause, copy the problems down, work them out, hit play again. Your answers will be there. Okay, here are all 4 problems worked out. So check your work, see how you did. Got a little messy in here. I should have left myself more room, but you should be okay figuring this out. There you go. Boom, 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 boom. There you go. Perfect. All right. Have a great day, everybody.